When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the vehicle owner's manual for important feature limitations and information.
Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Achtung Millwall, number one Millwall podcast. My name is Nick Hart. We speak in the aftermath of today's televised 0-0 draw at the MKM Stadium, the stadium which changes name quite frequently up there in Hull. Hull 0, Millwall 0. Our first point of the season. Joining me to chew over the cud of today's first point of this 24-25 campaign is show regular. Good to have you back, Ben Anthony. Welcome back to the show, Ben.
Hello, Nick. Yeah, thanks very much. How you doing? You all good?
Yeah. I was just trying to think of a good lead-in, and just before Ben and I started speaking, I'm thinking, what can I say to lead us off, listeners? And I think the best I can come up with, Ben, is that our first 2 league games of the season were games for the neutral, and we lost them both. Today was very much one for the hardcore fan, wasn't it? But we did come away with a point from up north, so I thought it was a pretty good defensive performance overall. How did you see today's 0-0 draw?
Yeah, it was more of a Millwall-like performance. We've heard a lot of Millwall-like over the last few months, and I think that was Millwall-like. I thought we looked quite composed. I thought we looked much more settled, and defensively solid. And we had our chances, and just didn't quite take them today. But we had a few, and some positive signs, I think.
Yeah, I mean, a big step forwards from the first 2 games, the Watford 3-2 loss, and then 4-3 down there at Bristol last weekend. Let's just run through the team for anyone that hasn't seen it. I can't believe there are many out there listening in Millwall world. Lucas Jensen was, for me, my man of the match today, Ben, but we'll come back to performances. I thought he did really well today, Lucas Jensen, because he's had a wobbly start, along with the whole back line, really. But today it was Leonard, Jake Cooper, returning Japhet Tanganga, who the commentator for Sky described as Jasfet Tanganga. Is a name, must be a curse to have a name where you're endlessly mispronounced. Japhet Tanganga was back, very, very solid performance there. I thought Joe Bryan, looked a lot better today. In front of them, Casper Denor, Jules Saville, and then the kind of attacking 3, as I call them, Honeyman, S.A., Watmore, Bradshaw up front. As you say, Ben, it was a curious mix because we both created chances, which we didn't take, and more on that in a moment. And we largely kept Hull at bay. There was a couple of moments on the 20th minute. I mean, there was a huge penalty shout, and I think it was, if there was VAR in the Championship, we would have been punished because there was a chance cross came in from the left side, which was a good save from Jensen, a close range shot, which I think when they showed a replay, hit quite clearly Jake Cooper's arm. We dodged a bullet there, Ben, I thought, on the 20th minute.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't notice it at first. I thought it was sort of just booted at him, but sort of on the replay, his arm is stuck out, isn't it? So I think we
would have been given, I think. And so, it wasn't intentional, but then that definition no longer seems to apply. He was on the floor and the ball struck his arm, so I think we did get lucky there. Moments before that, actually, just looking at my notes that I've got here, we actually created a decent chance. SA fed Jules Saville inside the Hull City penalty area, and the shot was saved when maybe you might have expected him to do a bit better. There's a couple of moments like that in the first half, especially where Cooper had a header from close range on 27. Saved, where you might have thought that we would have done better. I think the difference from our point of view today was that lack of clinical finishing, really, Ben, today overall.
Yeah, that chance that was Saville. It was a beautiful ball through from Eze.
It was,
and and he sort of seemed to take it on the outside of his left foot, rather than hit it with his right and go with a bit of power. But yeah, a really good chance. I've also got the couple of half volleys from Tanganga, which was quite fun to see.
Yeah, that's right. They kind of created a ping pong kind of effect in their penalty area, but
Yeah,
unfortunately, each of the volleys weren't on target.
no, it was a really positive start. We had a flurry of
We looked
corners,
bright.
didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
We looked bright, I thought.
we came out up.
Yeah, one of the thought occurs to me. You mentioned there saying that beautiful ball through to Jules Saville. As I say, I will maybe think with the benefit of hindsight, he should have done better.
Mhm.
How far and how quickly is Romain Esse maturing as a player in the Championship, Ben? I think there were moments today where he showed one or two flicks. In the second half, one that comes back to me as I'm talking. I think he put through Joe Bryan down the left side as like a back heel pass. I mean, this
Mm.
is top quality stuff, and the boy is building his confidence. It's wonderful to see. I really hope we can keep him for the season at least, because he's really starting to look like a top prospect and totally at home at Championship level. He really stood out for me, Romain Esse today. That moment was one in particular where he fed through to Saville, as you say, but he's really coming along a bundle, I think.
Yeah, he's just a natural talent. He has no fear in his game.
No,
Take on anyone, and occasionally he does these incredible sort of free flowing runs, um, and
back heels
yeah,
and flicks and
yeah,
imagination, something that's you don't see. I mean, we've got a lot of good workhorse players, I think, in our side. Whether you favour graft or talent in football, I suppose it's the great debate. But you just love to see players like Romain Esse when they're on form. He's gaining in confidence. I really like the look of him today. Um, just before I praise the side too much, there was one wobbly moment because we looked pretty strong defensively, Ben, and Tanganga coming back obviously was a huge part of that. But there's one moment, 36 minutes, they've got a whole City cross, a pretty straightforward punt into the area, caused confusion on a kind of a Watford scale again, where everyone was looking at each other, running around almost with their hands in the air. Only one moment, so maybe that's an advance. That's that one moment of panic because it was almost an unforced error there again, but it passed us by this time. Where previously we've conceded from those kinds of hopeful punts that we make a mess of, but that was almost 1-0, 36. Apart from that, we were pretty strong defensively
it's
across that first half.
the nearly there part of the game
We're
for me.
getting there.
Yeah,
What was
so
that old the old British rail slogan? We're getting there. We're getting there, listeners. Yeah, half time 0-0. I thought we looked pretty decent. Lacking finishing, which we might as well broach the subject of our star signing Macaulay Langstaff, who sat on the bench for how many minutes was it? 87 minutes until he came in. Managers to get inside the head of a manager is a strange thing, Ben, and I never quite fathom when everyone can see that we've created chances, we didn't put them away, and we have a top finisher. Certainly at the level that he's come through at. I get you might not want to start him. I get you might even think give him till maybe the 65th minute onwards and bring him in. But I don't get why you're sitting him on the bench till 87. I mean, maybe Neil Harris's thinking is so far above mine in a football level that it's beyond me. But we haven't scored a goal, and there's a goal scorer. I don't know. Is that too simplistic? How do you see the Langstaff question?
I I would have liked him to come on around the time that Aziz came on. I
Yeah,
thought
as a double. Yeah,
we needed some fresh legs, and it was sort of Aziz and then Langstaff or Remarco. I thought would have been good
yeah,
additions. Yeah, Harris seemed to hold off from that, and it it is that interesting thing because the last couple of weeks he's been complaining about not being able to make the subs he wants to make, and
yeah,
then you've got players on the bench, and we finally had a full bench,
yeah.
and we didn't use it. So yeah, it is an odd thing.
Well,
Um,
Neil's post match last week, and I actually thought, whatever the rights and wrongs of the delivery of the message, we'll park all that. Signings have been made. The Bristol City bench was basically what won it last weekend. But
mm,
this week, where we were light last weekend, we looked a lot stronger. So we did bring in, as you say, Femi Aziz. Good to see on 70 minutes. I might have liked to seen
yeah,
him coming a touch earlier even. But anyway, there we are. So we do have match-affecting players. Well, this week we had match-affecting players sat on the bench, and they weren't really used. So having thrown his rattle out of the pram last weekend, Neil, it seems a very strange decision not to employ some of this evident, we hope, talent in Macaulay Langstaff. We haven't really seen barely. I don't know if we've seen even 20 minutes. He started one game. He started in the League Cup, didn't he? So we have seen a little bit of him, but it'd be good to see more of him, especially in situations where we're looking to sniff out a goal. Today was just such a situation, so it's strange.
I'd expect him to start again on Tuesday.
Yeah,
and I think we do need to remember he's jumping up 2 leagues. It's a big step, and he's going to have to sort of settle himself into the squad. And Neil Harris will know all about that. And he's seen it happen with Morrison when he was a player, and he's done it with players like Gregory and things like that. But it brought, taking his time and brought players through. So I sort of trust him to make that right decision. I would have liked to see him have a few more minutes today, because he only had like 4 minutes or something. He can't impact on the game.
The final few minutes of regular and then whatever added on. I think it was about 3 or 4 minutes at the end there, wasn't it?
Yeah, and particularly with someone like, it's looking increasingly like Nesbitt's going to go.
Well, he's gone to Aberdeen. He's on loan. I don't know if that's been officially announced. It's certainly all over the unofficial sites, and we never really saw him. I don't think it's quite right to say good riddance, because we never really saw him to make a judgment. A strange signing. Whatever the background issues were, we don't know, but it does look like
there was that odd
thing
at the end of the season, wasn't there? He wasn't included in one of the squads because of behaviour, and there's sort of some rumours going around about attitude, and so it sounds like there's a bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's heading back up beyond the Scottish border. It was a shame, because I think a lot of us pinned a few high hopes on Kevin Nisbet, but there it is. It didn't work out. Macaulay Langstaff, we've yet to really see what he can do with the right service. Perhaps, I don't know. As you say, I would like to see him come on with Aziz. I suppose. Trying to put myself in the manager's shoes a little bit, and the thing that really stood out for me with Romain Esse is how Esse has raised his work rate. He's doing defensive work and doing it well, tackling back today, getting stuck in, as well as the talent. The talent is evident, and I'm guessing that's where maybe Langstaff hasn't been asked to do that kind of side of the job. His previous plays, the Notts County in the national leagues, and so maybe he's just there as a striker. I don't know. I'm going to guess that's where the gap has to be closed a little bit. But we got through the second half. There was a few chances. I mean, a great save, absolutely standout save by Lucas Jensen, which I thought was a match-winning save. That's why I've made him my man of the match today. Listen, to take your pick. 75 minutes. That was the overhead shot, Ben, and he made a point-blank save that won the game for us. In effect, won the point, I should say, not won the game, won the point. But that was a match-saving moment by Lucas Jensen. Good to see him get it. He's had a wobble since he's made his debut for the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, as a shot stopper, he's been all right, hasn't he? He's had those couple of moments. It seems to be the sort of almost the cross into the box and sort of leaky hands sort of thing, and
it seems to have him in bother. Yeah,
but that seemed to be much better today. He seemed much sort of more settled and confident in his gameplay. I think there's going to be that's a big clean sheet for him, and should give him a boost that we all needed him to have. So pleased for him.
Really hope so, because as you say, that was a good save, an excellent save. Areas of his game we'll probably want to work on will be the crossing, because that does seem to be a bit of a thing in his head at the moment. I suppose, as others have pointed out online, distribution. I get less hung up on that. We've had other goalkeepers recently, especially where they're supposed to be brilliant distributors of the ball, and then they're doing basics wrong. I'd sooner have a good shot stopper any day of the week, where you can work on the other aspects of his game. So well done, Lucas Jensen, today. I think he stood out for me, as well as obviously Romain Esse. That was largely it. Incident-wise, Ben, it was a hard grind of a game, really, wasn't it? I mean, I think if you weren't a committed Millwall fan, your attention probably would have wandered somewhat. across the 90. But it was a good travelling point. I think that's. I mean, again, I've seen a debate online as to whether we could have pressed for the pre. We probably could, but I think just to get off the mark has been a big thing today. We've got the cup game on Tuesday, and then is it Sheffield Wednesday next Saturday?
Yeah,
So we've
that's
got
right.
a big week of football ahead of us. So to come away from a whole of a point, I think is a decent achievement given the start we've had so far. Is that being unambitious? Do you think?
Well, I think that's what Neil Harris was thinking. Get through the
Mm,
game, get a point, and
yeah,
bring it
get
back.
off
And
to a
we've got
start.
two home games, a chance for some of those on the bench to have a start on Tuesday, and
Yeah,
maybe push for a starting place. The likes of Imaku, the likes of Langstaff, like we've said, give them that sort of opportunity, and then again the home game to Sheffield Wednesday, who look like a decent side, I think, and we'll give them a good game, and with a bit of luck, get our first 3 points on the board, and that'd be a really great way to go into the international break. So that's got to
yeah.
be.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, good to see Aziz come on. We didn't really see that much of what he can do, but he looks like a fast, mobile forward. He came on for Duncan Watmon in the 70th minute, so fingers crossed that's going to be. I mean, that's a £1 million signing. I think the commentary team mentioned. We don't really get the figures anymore in football, but
No.
that's a big signing by Mill standards. So fair play to the club for finding the money. I presume Nisbet going back up to Aberdeen is part and parcel of money being made available there. So good to see him come on. It'd be nice to see some more of Femi Aziz, another flair player. So all good. So there we are. We are not quite bottom now of the table. I think we've got 1 point now, haven't we? So let's go have a quick look at the table before we close out. Ben, there we are. 3 games gone, and where are we? We are bottom 3. Oh, we are -2. We're in the bottom 3 at the moment, such as the
As it
table
stands,
matters
as it
as it
stands.
stands. As it stands, because there's we're speaking as games are ongoing at the moment. So I think Kenny Jackett used to say you only really take a view on the table after 10 matches. So I'm going to
Yeah,
hold off on my judgment on that front. Go by the great guru of Kenny Jackett.
yeah, absolutely. And I think we've been unlucky.
We have,
It's.
yeah.
I was saying it took 7 games for us to score 5 goals last season. We did it in 2. So we attacking wise has been a good start. It's not been good defensively, but we were missing Tanganga. We've got a new goalkeeper. I think it just takes a bit of time for things to settle. We've still got Fleming to come back. We've still got Mitchell to
Yeah,
come back. I think
yeah.
there are signs of a positive squad. We need a couple more players in this week if we can, and then we can give it a good go and get settled into this season.
Yeah,
But
no, I agree. I just want to mention, just looking at my notes here before we close, Ben, I've been quite forthright in seeing the downside of Joe Bryan. I thought he played quite well today. I thought he did quite well defensively and put some decent crosses in.
yeah,
So I just wanted to, you should be the first to praise when you've been the first to damn somebody. So I thought he
well,
did well
I
today,
thought
Joe Bryan.
I thought he was excellent. I'd
Yeah.
be tempted to say that he was my man in the match. I thought he was
Oh,
really,
there we are.
really strong
There we are.
player, always involved, showed good strength, and happy to get involved in the tussle of the game, and put
Yeah.
some really good crosses in today. And yeah, a real improvement from him. And I think by the sounds of it, I think he did an interview and said he had some real injury problems last season and was really
So I
struggling.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
seems to be much fitter and sort of more comfortable in his play this season. And I think, yeah, it was a really good game for him.
Well, we looked defensively switched on today, and that's all we
Yeah,
can ask. I mean, and including Ryan Lander had a bit of a mare for one of the goals down there at Ashton Gate, but not today. Today was a strong defensive performance away from home, and that's the base on which you build a season, listeners. So well done, Millwall. So big thank you, Ben, for taking time out your Saturday afternoon, mate. I think we've summarised the game quite neatly there.
yeah.
We've done quite well, actually. There wasn't that much to talk about really in the game overall, was there?
I guess two things. It was a big milestone for Jake Cooper.
350,
300,
wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
350th. So
Yeah.
congratulations to him. And I thought he had a good game. Other than perhaps the potential handball,
Yeah.
fairly
Yeah.
solid. And also, I don't know if you've seen it, a classy touch from Hull. They put Matty Sarkic on the
I did
programme.
see that. Yeah, glad you mentioned that. Yeah, I saw that earlier on. It went out of my head. They put Sarkic in as number 20 with a kind of like a just whitened it out to show respect. No, that was a really nice touch. I thought I saw that Wolves had a minute's applause. I think he must have been the next Wolves player as well for
Oh,
Sarkic
right,
as
yeah.
well today, pre kickoff. So, this is great stuff, and well done to Hull City. That was a nice touch. I did see somebody had posted a photo of the match program online. So yeah, well done, Hull City. Well done to the travel. It's 500 went up there today, so well done. 12:30 kickoffs are a mare to get to, especially with long northern trips. So well done everybody that
6
made
o'clock in the
them.
morning, I saw some people were leaving. That's
It's
big
touch
commitment.
too early for me when it's on the telly too, Ben. So well done everybody
Yeah.
that went up there. We're going to take an advertising break now, listeners. We'll be back after these messages with the voicemails. See you shortly.
Achtung, Millwall.
That's the defining message today. It was important we didn't return home empty-handed. Important that the fan base that travelled again today in numbers didn't return home having seen a defeat. So I asked for a clean sheet mentality, and we provided that. Obviously, if I want to be greedy like I am, I want that clean sheet mentality as a Millwall manager, but I want that killer touch that we have possessed in the last 3 games as well. So again, it goes back to finding that balance.
Well, it was, of course, a distinctive voice, dear listeners, of manager Neil Harris speaking straight after yesterday's 0-0 draw. Incidentally, I have to laugh, listeners, whilst I'm listening to that little clip that I've nicked off the club's Twitter feed. I'm just reading another post here by Second Tier Podcast, quoting Jaffet Tanganga on manager Neil Harris. Jaffet says that he can see the resemblance between Jose Mourinho and the gaffer in how they manage the people, and it is their character which helps to galvanise the team, says Jaffet. I'm just looking at Jose's track record in terms of silverware. European Champions League with Porto, won 2 Primeira Ligas in Portugal, Premier League with Chelsea 1, 2, 3 times. I thought I'd won the European Champions League as well under Jose Mourinho, FA Cup. Inter Milan, Serie A 1, 2 twice. Champions League with Inter, and so it goes on. La Liga with Real Madrid, and so on and so forth. Conference League with Roma, and so on. Quite a comparison you're making there, Jaffet. I'm hoping that you get a good bonus this week, mate. Just listening to Neil Harris there, obviously in the wake of that 0-0 draw, which Ben and I have just been speaking about. I did see one reply, I think it was Tony Monday, big shout out to Tony, saying that if Gary Rowett had come out with similar sentiments, he'd have been slaughtered. And I get the disappointment, I think, generally with that 0-0 draw. Personally, given the stuttery start we've had to the season, I thought yesterday's 0-0 draw was quite welcome, really, and I thought that but for 1 or 2 decisions, I think maybe substitutions might be an area where you can justifiably criticise Neil Harris yesterday. But then again, he clearly sees the likes of Tom Bradshaw up front as doing a job that maybe Macaulay Langstaff, not Colkin, Macaulay Langstaff doesn't do or can't do yet. I don't know, but it was a welcome point for me, dear listeners. But I do hear the criticism. Just looking at another one here as I'm speaking to you. JP Millwall 2 says Nisbet had to go. He's gone back to Aberdeen. He's gone to Aberdeen. He came from Hibernian, didn't he? He's gone back to Scotland, let's put it that way. But JP says that's now 9 players from last year's squad who aren't here anymore. And we've replaced them with 5 players. So 9 down to 5. 2 goalkeepers, which would be Liam Robertson and also Lucas Jensen. An unproven striker at this level. I think I'd stick that in. That's not in your post, JP, but I'd just stick that in as a caveat. Unproven at this level. An 18-year-old in Danny Kelly and now Femi Aziz. On top of that, he mentions Billy Mitch, Adam Malaki, Murray Wallace and Zian Fleming all injured. I think Wallace was on the bench yesterday, returning, and Zian, I think they're hoping they might even be back ahead of the international break, possibly next week versus Sheffield Wednesday. I don't know. There we are. I mean, that's the critiquing side of it. We're going to listen now to a few of the voicemails that have been sent. Big thank you to everyone who sent me voice notes. If you want to join the voice note gang, dear listeners, do send me a message on X. You can direct message me. You can use X to send me a direct message and a voice message. Or if you prefer, we can exchange mobile numbers and you can just send me a message via WhatsApp, which is dead easy. And I really appreciate everyone's contact. So let's begin our series of messages. Always a favourite one here is going to be Jim Hackett to start us off with. Take it away, Jim.
Morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here. Just a few thoughts on yesterday and probably things in general. I don't think I'm too different to what most people are saying, that we probably should have won yesterday. Well, we definitely could have won when you look at the chances that we had. Obviously, Sav and Bradshaw chances were clear cut, and I'm really disappointed with Cooper and his sort of free header. That was probably the easiest team we're going to play against for Cooper to get chances, and he really should have done better with the header he had. But that's our system, isn't it? That's how we always tend to end up looking back and thinking that it could have been a little bit better. But at least we're creating the chances. And one good thing come out of yesterday was really pleased for Jensen to not just pull off the saves, but he could see he seemed to sort of be growing in confidence as he was going. Obviously, his kicking is something we're really used to at Millwall, in that our goalkeepers can never kick. I don't know what the script is, but it's something they don't seem to be able to grasp and get hold of. I think the best kicker we had was Long, and look how that all turned out. So I'd rather have him saving goals and doing what he was doing than worry about his kicking too much. And the other player, I think, who's coming for a little bit of criticism, and I'm not sure why. I think it's because he's not flash and he's not silky and skillful that you expect, is Honeyman. I think him filling in that little role behind the striker seems to be working wonders for us. I think the fact that we created lots of chances over the last few games, and he can defend very quickly up front. I think he's a good foil, not just for Bradshaw, but for whoever played up there. And for me, Honeyman has been probably our standout player in all the games, because he's buzzing around and he's trying to win the ball back, and he does win the ball back an awful lot of times. But because he isn't scoring goals and isn't sort of looking so silky, I think he probably comes in for a bit of criticism. But I'm very happy with him, and at the moment, with Fleming being out, then he's filling that role perfectly. And then you've got to think, if Fleming had Honeyman's busyness and a little bit of sharpness, I think you probably find that Fleming wouldn't be with us, because that's the one thing he is lacking. So if we could get a hybrid of them two, what a great player we'd have. The rest of the game, I thought our shape was decent. We, as I said, we could have won that, and it's unfortunate we didn't. Hull had a couple of chances, but they weren't as clear cut as ours. And I think out of the two teams, we look more like winning it than they did. I know we have those little patches where the opposition always seems to get the better of us and we seem to panic a little bit. But overall, I think we had the better of the game, and Hull will probably be quite happy that they got what they got out of it. And then you look at the amount of money they spent on their squad, I think it's 15 million plus, then, I wouldn't be happy if I was one of their supporters. You look at ours and £2.5 million worth of players, and, we didn't do too badly there. And I think we're all sort of looking through rose-tinted glasses sometimes of what we haven't got. But what we have got, I think they work very hard, and very happy with it. If anything, the substitutions yesterday, I think everybody knew we were crying out for somebody to make a change at around about 60, 65 minutes. And to leave Bradshaw on, they're just doing what Bradshaw does, I think didn't do us any favours. And unfortunately, there's a million managers out there who will know better than Neil Harris, and unfortunately it's his choice at the time. So that's how we go. Man of the match for me, I'll go for Joe Bryan. I thought yesterday was probably the best game I've seen him have for us. He looked sharp in his tackles. He looked good going forward, and he didn't waste too many passes or opportunities. So very happy with him. But I also thought Jensen was excellent for us yesterday, especially the way it's been and how it could have been. So very happy with him. And the other one who I think, again, has got a little bit of criticism for no idea why is Casper. I thought yesterday he broke things up. He made telling tackles, and he got himself in the way and looked like he was a different player yesterday. So I'm very happy for him, and obviously it's given us strength going forward, because I think now we've got Kelly in, we've got Aziz in, we've got Billy and Fleming to come back in, then I think it gives us a much stronger squad. I know Nisbet's gone, but I'm not too bothered about that. He didn't actually produce anything for us. A bit of a disappointment, but we've had more than those sort of disappointments over the years. So Nisbet going doesn't matter to me. I think we've got a much better looking squad. Hopefully we've got players to slot in as they need to. We've got Esse, who I think now has suddenly started growing into not just that position, but growing into men's football. You can see he's not now as clever as he was, if you like, in terms of wanting to dribble everywhere and show his little flicks and tricks. Now he actually does what he's good at when he's got the space, and when he hasn't got the space, he actually draws fouls. So very happy with him, and as he's looked half decent when he came on, but that's still to be decided, isn't it? So overall, yesterday I was quite happy with it. A draw away would have took that before the game. The man management, I think, will be Neil Harris's bigger issue now, because he's going to have to deal with players who he's going to leave out, and not just out of the team, but out of the squad as well, by the sound of it, when you look at the size. But at the same time, we've got a really good set of players, I think, a stronger squad. When you look at one or two of the young lads who are still to come into there, like Lee and Massey, then I think, the rest of the season, now we've got Tanganga back, hopefully will give us something to be positive about. So happy with that. Happy with the squad, happy with the shape, happy with the point yesterday. And it could have been a lot worse, but we really should have won it, which is sort of sounds a bit Irish, but we'd have took a point before the game. We didn't get 3 points, which is disappointing, but I'll take it. And now we go on to Orient on Tuesday and Sheffield Wednesday next Saturday, which back at the Den is always a good thing. Okay, take care. Come on, you Lions.
Cheers, Jim. Yeah, good message there, mate. I actually met George Honeyman last week. We did the Wall Talk, which is like an interview format, talking to George Honeyman. Lovely bloke, dear listeners. Really nice guy. Intelligent and speaks well. So that podcast will be out, I'm going to guess, fairly soon. I don't have any input on when the shows go out, how they're produced or anything like that. But it's a good interview, and he comes over a very nice bloke. I make you right, Jim. I haven't really seen criticism of Honeyman or for Casper, to be honest. I'm surprised, because they're both kind of 100% players. They both do what they do quite well. I sometimes think that we have a fan base that expects Lionel Messi to turn out in a dark blue shirt sometimes. These are good workhorse style players. I don't mean that in a disparaging way, because every team needs its water carriers for its talent, which we're starting to see now with the likes of SA. And I make you right. I said to Ben in the earlier conversation about how brilliant it is to see Romain Esse maturing, and some of the imagination when he keeps it controlled. He's also doing the work, but when he uses his imagination in the small doses that I'm sure the professional game will support, he's brilliant. And we don't see brilliance at the Den very often. So my message to everyone following the club this season is to enjoy Romain Esse for as long as we've got him, because I think that he will be much in demand as the kind of new improved version of Romain starts to make an impact in the Championship. I think he will. I agree about Joe Bryan. I mentioned that earlier on. I thought he stood out as his good performance yesterday, and we've mentioned Lucas Jensen already. So yeah, big thank you to Jim Hackett there. We're going to run along now. We're going to listen to Steve Morton. Next message. Take it away, Steve.
Hi Nick, Steve Morton here. Just sending in my first voicemail of the season after we've picked up our first point away at Hull. Decent point, I think, most definitely. I don't think I'll have much different to say to many of your other dear listeners, but just thought I'd make a little contribution. I mean, first and foremost, I think we've started the season okay. Points-wise, obviously not, but the football, commitment, etc., I think has been pretty decent. And we've just been a bit unlucky with bloody stupid errors that have cost us points. But yesterday, luckily, we didn't do that and got a deserved point. But I think, like most will say, it felt like a bit of a missed opportunity. I think we could have nicked it and got our first win. But if you'd have offered a point before the game, I'm sure we'd have all taken it. Very quick overview. I think the back five, Jensen, great to see him make a couple of key saves and look assured in general. So I think he's finding his feet, which is very encouraging and what I expected. Jaffet coming back was fantastic. I thought he was excellent. Maybe a little rusty, but he made a big difference. So that's a really great signing for us. And if he stays fit, we should be comfortable at the back. Lenny back to his best after a shaky game at Bristol. And even Brian, Bill Slack would have loved his performance yesterday. The old fruit pastel, man. What a quote that was last week. But no, Joe Bryan played well, did really well. I thought that Jarvis who came on, give him the run around a bit, but he looks a good player. But what worried me with Bryan there was he just seemed to drop his shoulder and he was away from him. So I think he needs to, as we all know, tighten up at the back a bit. But let's say that was his best game for a long while, and a lot saying man of the match performance, which he certainly would be a contender. And I thought Cooper looked assured again. People saying still looked shaky. I thought he looked decent alongside Jaffet. So very confident. Back five, clean sheet. That was really good. I think the midfield battled away well. Denor is growing on me. I think he's starting to look a little better. But again, he seems to divide opinion, as does Saville. Works his nuts off. But look, we really do need fresh legs in there. When we can, so an important week to see if we do that with new signings. Hanneman, Watmore, SA all worked tirelessly. SA's getting better and better for me, albeit not his best game, but he did show some good spells. Thought he was just starting to come into it more again on the right when we brought Aziz on. I think it was right to put Aziz in his preferred position, but I'm not sure that really helped SA. But look, overall, another good performance from him. Hanneman worked hard, as did Watmore, without really necessarily testing their back 3-5-4, whatever it was. And then finally, Bradders. Look, we know what we get with Bradders. Works his nuts off, works really hard, but I'm like everybody else. I can't believe Langstaff's not getting more time, and I'm really worried that we could ruin him in terms of his confidence, because 10 games in and he's only been a bit part and he's not scored any. Will affect him, I would imagine. But let's hope he gets a start and a goal against Orient on Tuesday. Just on the pressing, I wanted to say, with Bradshaw and Honeyman, I think they both work hard and chase down a lot of the defenders, but it almost looks a little bit half-hearted in a way. It's almost like not any desire to get the ball, just to shut down. And I want to remind our dear listeners, your dear listeners, of a great player in my day was a guy called Kevin Bremner. You'll remember him very well, Nick. Can you imagine Kevin Bremner playing in the modern game with this bloody nonsense playing out of the back? He would be all over defenders, and the amount of times he would turn the ball over, because he was brilliant at that back in the day. He just used to close people down and put them under pressure, but win the ball. Not just make it difficult for them. He would put them under pressure and win the ball. So I'd love to have him in our team now. Christ, he would scare the life out of these defenders who want to bring the ball out. But hey-ho, we haven't got that. Good to see Aziz come on, make his debut. I think a bit unlucky. He got doubled up on a bit, so we didn't really see the best of him. Not as quick as I thought he might be, but I think Reading fans had hinted that that's the case. But look, he's a good signing. He was somebody we wanted, and it's nice for us to get our first choice targets for a change, albeit we've had to wait a little while. Which brings me on to this week. Look, massive week. We need at least 3 for me. Certainly one attacker, if not 2, maybe a midfielder and a defender, but we need, I think if we get 3 in, with Nisbet going now, we're only level with our numbers from last year, and I think we all thought we were like last year, because we will inevitably have injuries as we've got now. So interesting week ahead, but look, and I think if we do get 2 or 3 decent signings, I think it's been a really good window, albeit it's taken probably too long. It'll be a good window. So let's hope that's the case, and let's hope we get a nice little win against Orient on Tuesday, with a few of the backup players getting a run out, and then 3 new signings in or more even, and then let's take it to Sheffield Wednesday. We owe them one after last year. They started with a fanfare and then they seem to have fizzled off a little bit. So let's get stuck into them and let's get our first league win next Saturday. All right, Nick, nice to speak to you. Keep up the good work. Great show. The season has started brilliantly. You do a fantastic job with this podcast. So keep up the good work and hopefully speak to you soon with 3 points in the bag.
Achtung, Millwall.
Nick Hart, Bobby T, fucking here. From a KFC, K-Con, whatever you want to fucking call it. Fucking embarrassing. Harris, hang your head in shame. Embarrassing. Giving Longstaff fucking 2 minutes at the end. Saville should have scored in the first half. Right, Joe Bryan, the old coffee addict, was our best player. And then scrappy fucking game, mate. And then Bradshaw won over 70 minutes. And you give Langstaff fucking 2 minutes. Fucking behave, mate. 1 point on the board. Not happy. Bye for now. Bobby T. Love Millwall. See you at Wednesday. Oh no, Leyton Orient. Fucking hell. Millwall. Seriously, Bobby T here, Nick Hart. I am fuming. 2 points dropped again. And Marco crying out for him. Bye for now. Nick Hart, Bobby T here, and one more thing. Harris is the joke, we're the joke. Full stop. Something's got to change. Bye for now. Evening, Nick Hart, Bobby T here, back in London. Just a few words just to sum up, basically. It is the third game. I mean, I'm not going to go negative, and sometimes, I am myself, sometimes a bit over-passionate, but for me, today's game, we were solid at the back, right? JT's back, not John Terry, I mean Jeff at Tango. And Jensen, I was taking a piss out. Jensen had some fine saves, solid game. Joe Bryan at the back. We're solid at the back. I get that, yeah. Solid point away from home. And the alarm bells aren't ringing now, but it's not the back, Nick, for me. Even the midfield, I mean, Zian Fleming, I'll be missing him. Is he leaving? No, like Nesbitt, thank God he's fucked off now. Right, thank God he's gone. But I don't know, like for me, Zian Fleming, they're saying he's injured, but I think he might be out by next week. I don't know. Are we missing him? I just don't know really what to expect, basically. But yeah. Oh, sorry, Nick, there just cut off there, mate. Basically on the old motorway, just got back into London. Yeah, where was I? All I know for me, is a lot of people like slagging Harris off now online and all that, negative and all that. And don't get me wrong, I love the bloke. Harris is a legend. But you buy these players and you don't play them. And you keep on playing Bradshaw. Now, I've personally, in my eyes, I think he's got 2 games left. Yeah, people say, behave, don't throw the kitchen sink, it's too early yet. But Sheffield Wednesday, Luton, QPR away, that if we don't get anything out of these 3, is it the whole Gallen and Harris thing? I don't know what's happening, but how could you give Langstaff 2 minutes and Bradshaw 70 minutes? And then on Tuesday night, Leyton Orient, give Langstaff a go. Amaku, Massey, Essie in the 10. Essie was fantastic today. So, I'm not raving, I'm not ranting. I mean, you know what I'm like on my passionate Millwall, but where is the answer? Is Harris the answer? In long term, 18 months left on his contract. Anyway, it's not ranting. I'm just getting my feelings out, basically. A lot of people saying, Harris. I mean, last week I said Harris has got to go. I love the bloke, but maybe in Millwall not playing the right team. Amako today, crying out to play, didn't play him. Anyway, Nick Hart, on to Leyton Orient, on to Sheffield Wednesday. Harris we love, but Millwall's bigger than Harris. Yeah, he's a club legend. We love the club. The right young players in the team. Langstaff. If that was me, I'd be saying, what? I want a free transfer. I want out. Bye for now. Take care, Bobby T.
Back when I was a kid, Bob, my dad was a huge jazz fan and he used to have an album called The Many Sides of Miles Davis. I always remember looking at it as a kid. It had like multi kind of images of Miles Davis done psychedelic style. Well, those series of messages there, dear listeners, were The Many Sides of Bobby T. Big thank you, Bob. And before the break, to Steve Morton as well. Some interesting points in both those messages, really. Neil Harris's position. Are you saying the unsayable there, Bob? I don't know, mate. I mean, there's obviously been this spat recently. We've got a message after this. I'll play Barry Moon's message. It was sent to me after last week's game at Bristol. It came in the week. Talking about the whole kind of the personality clash that appears to be under the surface. Yesterday's post-match press conference by Neil Harris, which we played at the start of this sequence, it was all happy clappy. No more talk of the recruitment team and them being sent out with 2 goalkeepers and all that kind of stuff. But you can't be having open disagreements like that and it not to leave its mark. So as much as I'm sure people have said to you, Bob, his position, I don't know. I mean, he's made a point since his return of saying he's here on this 18-month contract, which essentially covers him to the end of this season. Whether Neil says to himself, do I really want to be working with a team that have put him in a position where he's having to cover for other people's shortfalls, as it might seem to him? I don't know. Equally, that is the essence of work in for all of us. We're all having to represent often companies or organisations or viewpoints, whatever way you want to put it, that you don't personally agree with, but you're paid to say something different, and so you have to kind of do your best with that. So I don't know. It's an interesting point. Myself, I'm a bit with Steve in the sense that yes, there did seem a bit of a missed opportunity, and some substitutions earlier in the second half particularly may have turned things our way. We were crying out for goal scoring nous, and I don't really get the reluctance to play Macaulay Langstaff when he's his track record is that of a fox in the box, the goal poacher, the classic. I understand why perhaps with the pressing that Steve mentioned, pressing from the front, that's Tom Bradshaw's forte. It might not be Macaulay's forte, I don't know. But it does seem a bit of an odd move. So I don't know. It's an interesting point that you're making, Bob, and I really appreciate the messages both from Steve Morton and there from Bobby T. We'll move swiftly along. I'm going to play Barry Moon, who sent me a message after last week's Bristol game, which came in a little bit too late for last week's shows, but I'll play it today. I think it's still relevant with what we've just been talking about. Then we play Joe Chats, Joe from Chicago, and then Matt Webb. So we've got some freeway action here. So take it away, Barry.
Hello, Nick. Barry Moon here. Just listening to all your calls we had on today's Monday, and I say some great calls there. And I think I can only say what they're saying. But my thoughts about this now with Harris, it seems to me that one of them's got to go because it looks like they don't get on. Seems strange, and the club's suffering, the supporters are suffering for this. I don't know if the chairman can do something about this. It seems odd. We've never had this trouble for a few years now. It seems a bit odd, and I just get a feeling that they want Harris out of the club, or this head of recruitment wants him out of the club, to my opinion. It just seems they're just not getting on. Something should be sorted because this is sad. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it's got to happen soon. Anyway, lovely to speak to you again, and look after yourself. Cheers, Nick. Bye.
Hey, Joe from Chicago. I guess I'll take a point on the road, especially at Hull. Can't really complain about that existentially. It would be really nice if George Saville could get a good shot off. It's kind of becoming an issue. Also would love to know what Idemo Amaku did to Neil Harris. If he's not going to play, he needs to get loaned out to a League One side or somewhere productive, because this is a waste of time and money for him. This guy's way too talented and way too valuable to just sit on the bench. The Millwall's going to end up losing him for nothing just because they wouldn't let him play and develop some value. So, anyways, great performance from Jensen. Finally seems to be coming into form. Interesting to see the team play the way they did today. Didn't like the lack of subs. Honeyman fell apart at the end of the match. I mean, that free kick at the end was horrible. Joe Bryan once again does great, which I can't believe I'm saying, but yeah. Point on the road, I'll take that any day, especially against Hull. But yeah, not great to wake up at 5 in the morning or 5:45 in the morning to watch that in Chicago. Hope everyone's well. Cheers.
Hi Nick, Matt Webb here. Putting my points across after watching that 0-0 draw up at Hull. Arguably, I did watch it on the box, Sky Sports Plus, or I felt Sky Sports Hull. Anyway, but that's a different matter. All right, look, a point on the road is always a good thing. So and we're off the mark, which is is a positive. Okay, and at the start of the game, yes, I would have taken a point. However, as watching the game and seeing the chances that we made, like I think 6 corners in the first 20 minutes, for example, then my sort of confidence grew, and I was thinking, so we could win this. We could absolutely win this. However, we needed to change our formation and just go at them. And it never materialised. And the only sort of like standout shot in the first half was obviously Savills, which was straight at the goalkeeper. The crosses in the box were there to be taken. And I've always said, and I want to say this drum of mine, that my 2 up top drum, I keep on calling it, it should be there. Those chances have been put away if we had another more experienced attacking person up front, as well as Bradshaw. Oh yes, we do, don't we? And we signed him, and he scores 100 goals, but he only gives him 2 minutes. There's my issue. Harris said that when we signed Longstaff, and his interview on Sky said it's going to take time. He needs time. Well, how are you going to give him time when he comes on for 7 minutes last week, 5 minutes this week, and then he plays, and potentially, most likely, he'll probably play Tuesday night against a League One team. So how on earth can this player adjust himself to the Championship if you're not going to give the man the opportunity? Side note, I've just looked at the team that Ipswich are putting out against Manchester City. They signed Sammy Smodics, top scorer of the Championship, starting. There you go. He's starting in this game. Okay, they might not have a chance, but the fact is you sign a striker or sign an attacking player that knows where the back of the net is, you play him. If he's blowing out of his arse 60, 70 minutes in, fine. Then he's doing. Don't give him 7 minutes. Don't give him 2 minutes. It's absolutely pointless. And that annoys me, infuriates me a lot on that. He gives us these some time, so about 25 minutes to show what he's got. Okay, which is good, but and that's the best way to do it. But to give Langstaff 2 minutes plus stoppage in, so 6 in total, is absolutely criminal. And I would be, if I was him, I'd be knocking on his door, and I basically would turn around and say to me, "Why have you signed me? What vision? What can you tell me to say I've signed you because of?" Now, I might be jumping the gun here, being that the fact we've still got 1 more week in the transfer window, but that's how I feel at the moment. And it probably is after-match emotions that I feel like this. And yeah, it just infuriates me. I think we got away with a penalty in the first half. Back to the game, by the way. But I think we got away with Cooper handball in the penalty. And in the second half, Hull looked like they wanted to threaten, but I thought we had them contained quite well. They are a poor team in a period of change, new manager, new players, etc. And they were there to be taken today, but we just didn't have the bravery from the bench to go and make the changes to actually go out there to make the kill. And that frustrates me. On a side note, I want to take my hat off, and I'm actually going to put him down as my man of the match for Jensen. I think he pulled off a couple of good saves. Okay, his kicking wasn't brilliant today, but Bart's kicking wasn't the best. But you know, let's look at what his job role is. He's a goalkeeper. Kicking can come later in life. Keep that ball out the back of the net is your prime motive, and he did that well today. So I'm actually going to give my man of the match to Jensen for this game. So yeah, as I said, I'll take the point at the beginning of the game. I'm frustrated we've got a point at the end of the game, but you know, let's have a bit of bravery in some of the things that we do during the game. You know, let's just all right. We're one striker down in Nisbet. All right, good. Go away. See you later. Don't want him anymore. But you've got a Maku on the bench, and you got Langstaff. Even just go and roll the dice and put two up and just see what might happen. And it infuriates me, because I know come around on Tuesday night at Leyton Orient against a League One team, it's going to be the same old again. 4-2-3-1 against a League One team. So let's look forward to that now on Tuesday. So, Company Lions. Let's see what this final week of the transfer window brings.
Cheers, Matt. Really looking forward to that game on Tuesday now after that. But I do get it. You're right. Joe, before Matt Webb there, and also Barry, I think, alluded to this kind of strange conflict that's in the club. And I don't really understand some of Neil Harris's forward decisions with a goal scorer like Macaulay Langstaff. I get that he may need a target man alongside him, which we seem not to be able to muster up at the moment. But equally, it does seem a bit of an odd thing to keep him on the bench. And in Marku, again, another talented boy, fast and direct, hungry, and we didn't see him yesterday. Don't know, is that bravery? I think I've seen that word bandied around online a lot, Matt. Lack of. I don't really know. It was yesterday's game. I thought we were quite good in patches yesterday, and defensively we were quite sound, and we didn't look too bad on occasions going forward. But we do, start to lose it a little bit as the game wears on, and that was the very point that Neil Harris was making last week at Bristol. The lack of strength on the bench. Well, we didn't see that strength yesterday come off the bench really until it was too late. Just a big shout out also before I go to the final two messages to Joe in Chicago for using the word existentially. I think you're the first person, Joe, to use that word on this Millwall podcast. So I just want to send you a big congratulations out there in Illinois, existentially from Joe. So we're going to take a short break now. Then we're going to finish the show with Mark Barnes and Matt Richards. I want to say a big thank you to everyone for sending in their voice notes this week. Like I said at the start, if you want to join the voice note gang, do contact me on X. You can direct message me where they can exchange mobile phone numbers, or you can send me a voice note on X. Actually, just press the little voice command down the bottom of a direct message. Be great to hear from you, dear listeners. I do my best and will do my level best to cram everyone's messages into the show, even if it means a second part 2. As long as I don't start to get part 3, part 4, I suppose, and I might have to be more editorially ruthless. But anyway, I'll try my best to get everyone in on the show. Big thank you to everyone for contributing today, and thank you to you too, dear listeners, for tuning in. So we're going to close out now with the final 2 messages of today's show. It's going to be Matt Richards followed by Mark Barnes. Until the next edition of Achtung, Millwall, it's me, Nick Hart, signing out saying Arrivederci Millwall, and bye for now.
Achtung, Millwall.
Hi Nick, Matt Richards. That was a lot better, wasn't it? We were unlucky we could have won that really, but I'm not gonna be too disappointed with a point away from home. 0-0 clean sheet. That was really important after all the goals we've been shipping. Still a bit indecisive at the back, but I thought Jensen made a couple of really good saves, and then he came and grabbed a cross as well. Just after he made that second save from the overhead. So that those kind of performances that'll give him confidence. So that's good. I mean, his kicking's a bit dodgy, but you can't have everything. It's good to have Tanganga back. He looked pretty good actually, considering he hasn't played. So that was the main positive really. I thought first half we were playing with some really good stuff. The Bradshaw, Honeyman, Watmore, all linking well up front with SA. Saville should have scored. Obviously, he poked it with his left. He should never have used his left, but and Cooper had a header, free header, and then Bradshaw in the second half. If he'd been more clinical, then that would have been a really, really good, well-deserved away win. But so it wasn't. So, but I think that's good. That's positive. Now we've got Orient in the week. You'd expect that Harris will play. Aziz, give Langstaff a run out. He'll start, I'm sure. Perhaps Massey and Kelly in the middle as well. Why not? Keep the same back four. Because just give the other players a run out, because that's what we need now. We need a bit more legs in midfield. That's clear. Sav and Denor can't necessarily keep up for 90 minutes. And who knows? We might even get another player in next week as well. Obviously we've got to, where we will, I'm sure, replace Nisbet. But if we can get somewhere else in as well, so a couple of forwards, it's that would be really positive, and then take it forward to Sheffield Wednesday, really. So I can't grumble really. When you think the last time we spoke, it was Harris throwing his toys out the pram sort of thing, which I don't blame him for at all. The club's got that message loud and clear. They would have been working on these anyway. They don't suddenly wait for Harris to kind of get all uppity before they're working on it. But it shows the fact that he's a passionate guy, Harris, and he just wants people to get the players in for him to have a chance in this league, because we've only got next week now. Is it? Yeah, just next week, and then the window shuts, and we might have these deals lined up, but we all know things can fall through at the last minute. So even though we might, as it stands, we've only got Bradshaw and Langstaff. So we've got 4 days of bank holiday coming up. Anyway, but we just need to get players in the door. Aziz came on, so that was good. You see, he got a couple of crosses over. It looks like he's a direct player. He's not going to buck about. It's probably a shame Marco couldn't come on for like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes today, because I still think there's a place for him, with his pace and power as well. But you can only get 11 players on the pitch, can't you? So and I don't think any of the players out there today played badly. So it's good all round team performance. Well done to the fans that travelled up there as well. So it was a long way. Onwards, upwards, and over to Orient on Tuesday. All right, cheers, Nick. See you, mate.
Hello, Nick. It's Barnsley here. Report on today's game. I was very happy, actually, I must admit. We started off very well on the front foot. We had loads of corners, and obviously the ball keeps going to Kuba. It's like, just take him out the whole game, because the referee's always looking for a foul on that Cooper's going to be given against him. So I think we need to sort it out. But no, I thought we played well first half. I thought we were on the front foot. Obviously, they had a great chance, and Jensen made a really good stop. And then obviously Cooper made an even better stop with his hand, and obviously we got away with that one. But it was a great save from Cooper. And first half just kind of fizzled out a little bit. Second half on the front foot again, but didn't really create anything too much. And then obviously Jensen, I'm so pleased with him. We got a clean sheet, because everyone was sort of, is he going to be the right number one? and or bring Roberts in. But I thought he'd done really well today, and he pulled off a save that I think probably he should be making straight at him over the bar. And but I didn't feel they gave us too much trouble. But it's sort of the 80th minute, and you're thinking Bradshaw's been up there a long time. You're thinking maybe bring Langstaff on. But even in the first half, we were creating little chances where the balls I think would have been played into Langstaff a little bit. Maybe if that, I'm not slagging off Bradshaw because I thought he worked his absolute nuts off today, and I think Honeyman as well did, just ran himself into the ground. But just that, we were looking for those little balls, and Saville was making that run, but he should have scored without a shout. International footballers should use his right and his left, but they're the kind of chances that Langstaff should really be in that position to do, but he's not on the pitch. And it comes to the 80th minute and the 85th minute, and he brings him on. And for a player like that, he ain't got enough chance. But to be honest, I think what Harris did today was not concede, get the back four. Jensen, more confidence for that young man. He's come in. He's not been an easy situation, but he done well today. And I think it's all about confidence, bringing the team. We know we can go away from home and defend well. And obviously the main man come in today and he played well. With Cooper looks a different player with him next to him, and I think defensively we looked so much more better. And would Harris have gone for it? Maybe not. I don't know. But a point away from our Hull is a good point. But you could tell the crowd were being a little bit. I don't know. Just maybe there was a point. There was 3 points to be taken there. But I think it's about getting points on the board, getting the confidence up, not conceding goals. And the problem is we're not conceding goals, but we're not scoring goals. So it's a kind of situation where I think the point on the board is more important. But Langstaff, I really hope he gets his chance. He can't fault Bradders, but he's on his own up there. We need to support these forward players, and we need to score goals. We are changing. You can tell by the recruitment this week; it's been decent. Obviously, Nisbet's gone up north. Good luck to him. Happy that's happened. If he's, reports that we're hearing, we're not confirmed, but if he wants to move away, we don't want players that don't want to play for us. So we need to bring forwards in. We need to strengthen still, but we've had a good week. We've got a point on the ball, and the whole is not a bad result. But there's more to come, and let's see how we go. But anyway, mate, appreciate great podcast as usual, and look forward to hear everyone else. Take care, mate.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.